Hey guys, back again with another video. Driving home now again, I think on the same road as my last video. Just have a first back. So, today, what's our topic for today? I want to talk a little bit about my investment portfolio. I think it's inevitable that we will always get to this point. I think the last time I spoke about my investment portfolio, it was when I was about a year back, if I'm not mistaken, but it was an interesting experience since then. The market has faced a lot of volatility, I would say, especially in the commodities market. You have things like Bitcoin hitting the all-time highs over the past year. I think stocks have been relatively stable. But other than that, everything has seemed to have risen, despite, personally speaking, the economy not doing so well. Why do I think the economy is not doing so well? I think it's a mixed bag. It could be due to the wars that are happening, the conflicts. It could be due to political issues around the world. It could be due to Europe, for example, not being as efficient as they used to be. It could be things like China. I think the disposable income or people with disposable income has dropped significantly. I think there are a lot of aspects to why I feel the economy is not doing as well as we think it is. Despite that, all asset classes seem to have risen significantly. Wealth gap is definitely a significant thing that I see happening. So, of course, you know the saying, the rich always get richer, the poor always get poorer in a system like capitalism, right? That's how capitalism works. And I truly believe it to be true. However, I always see that there is, if the economy is done correctly and if there are opportunities, I believe there are ample opportunities for people to get out of the poor zone. But the gap between the middle and the wealthy are it's insane. I mean, the assets there, and if they're prudent enough, over generations they can accumulate things that we can only dream of in this lifetime. What am I getting to? I wanted to review my portfolio. So right now, I think my portfolio consists of REITs, real estate investment trusts. It consists of the I don't know, is it called a pension fund or a retirement fund? So let's call it a retirement fund. In Malaysia, we have the EPF, the Employee Provident Fund, which is basically income that's taken out of your paycheck every month, and kind of the company matches it, right? I'm not sure if you guys call this a 401k or a Roth IRA. I think it's 401k, but similar to that. So I have that. I also have ASMB, Amna Saham. I believe it's called National or something. It's a fixed price fund, very, very safe, gives you decent returns. However, I made a video stating why I don't think it's a good place for me to park my money per se, due to the limited amount of units you can get. I also have PRS, which is a private retirement scheme. It's basically like mutual funds with banks, but it's tax incentivized. That means any money you put in there can be written off as tax later on. So I always make sure I put enough, because personally I hate mutual funds because their cost is super high. I think the operational cost doesn't justify the gains that it makes, and it's just borderline stupid to be paying such high fees. Compound the fees that you're paying over time, you realize you're losing a lot of money. So I just put enough just for that. So we have the PRS, we have the EPF, we have the ASMB, we have the REITs. I also have commodities, and the only commodity I own right now is gold. So I have gold, which has performed very, very well. I have cryptocurrency. I hold 3 cryptocurrencies. I can go through them in more detail in the future, but I hold Bitcoin, I hold Ethereum, and I hold XRP. I also have a lot of reserve cash, predominantly my emergency funds stashed away in a mixture of saving accounts and also money market funds, which give you a pretty decent interest rate for the flexibility it gives you, right? Other than that, of course, I have stocks, the American stocks. I hold stocks in Singapore as well, hold stocks in Malaysia as well. So that's really broadened and diversified my holdings, definitely. And I really see the fruits of that labor, where I don't have to worry so much about dips now, and I'm not having the time, with studies, with work. I don't have the time to go through stocks one by one. I think that's just the reality. I would love to. I think that's definitely one of the interesting parts about investing in particular companies. But definitely in Malaysia, I still do a bit of research. But for America and Singapore, I just basically buy into funds. Let me think if I missed out anything. Yeah, I think that's about it. The rest of the money usually goes into my spending buckets, where I spend on daily use, and I spend on my car. I spend on things like my wants, right? Traveling with my girlfriend. I love traveling. I love spending on gifts as well, and also things I like. So I do that quite so often now and then. But so I think we reached a point where it really makes sense that I look to diversify even more. I think diversifying always gives you that peace of mind that if one asset class dips a little bit, there are still other asset classes that can tank the fall. And definitely the next 2 asset classes that I'm going to talk about that I'm looking to put my money into would be definitely a business or property, a physical real estate property. I think that would be my next step. I think property is the more safe route, the more traditional route that you would go down. But of course, given the fact that I see properties as more of a storage of wealth rather than let's say a way to get rich, right? A way to accumulate wealth. Of course it can accumulate wealth, but definitely it's not something that would make you richer than you always are. And it's a lot of people are doing it, right? When a lot of people are doing the same thing, chances are it kind of gets saturated. You still can earn a lot of money from real estate, don't get me wrong, but it's much more saturated in my opinion. Business, on the other hand, high risk, high reward, very high risk. And then businesses can be broken down into 2 different types. You can do either startups, where you kind of just start your own thing, or you can do franchises, where you just follow the blueprint of something that people has already done, and then you kind of do it. I'll go into more details on these 2 kind of assets in the future, because I really want to explore them thoroughly, and I really want to make a conscious decision on what my next step should be. Right now, I'm stemming more towards doing the property first. I'm even thinking about taking the property, the money I can get from the EPF for my first property, and use that for the business. So that means I buy the first property. Of course, you can only get the money back from EPF after you sign the S&P. So basically I'll get the money back, and then I'll put that into the into the business. Right? So that's the initial plan. However, I'm conscious that as long as I take money out of the EPF, the compounding effects will get weaker, right? Because the more money you have, the higher the compounding will be, the stronger the compounding will be, right? So I really need to not consciously make this decision on whether or not it's worth it to take that money out and to go and challenge myself to start a business. I think it will be a great challenge. I feel like I work better under pressure. I get stressed out, I get burnt out, but that leads to results. And I believe that every time in life you need something that really pushes you to the edge. Now that's all my investment assets for to today, 2025. And I will see, how we develop in the future, where can we spend a little bit more on. There are a lot of different kinds of investing assets out there that you can buy, but definitely these two, real estate and a business, is definitely something I want to invest on after I finish my MBA. So I think that's about it. I'm already reaching my area, so I'm gonna turn off the video really soon. But thank you guys for watching. I really do enjoy making these videos. I know sometimes I ramble a lot, but I really appreciate every single one of you for watching. And if not, I really think this is a very good place for me to just use as my personal journal, as I would say, and just use it for my own accountability. So again, thank you guys for watching. I wish you guys the best week ahead. Tomorrow I have work. It's work, right? It's a 9 to 5. It's gonna be a slog. It stresses me the hell out, but you just gotta show up, get it done, work your best, do your best, get that money, push it into investments, get out of the rat race, live your life, because our lives are only so short. And I really believe in maximizing your money for your max happiness, for your family's generational wealth, and that will eventually lead to very, very great things ahead. So with that said, a long-winded goodbye, but thank you guys. Wish you guys a great week ahead, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.